Kaizen event denotes the action which aims at improving the output of any existing burning process. So, the aim of Kaizen event is to eradicate those burning processes in order to achieve a low Six Sigma score. Generally, a Kaizen leader is appointed who identifies the opportunities for improvement and plans and leads these changes. The Kaizen event leader integrates and gathers the operators and other employees attached to the particular process at one place. Then they map the existing process and then suggest and implement the improvement process. The final result is the improved process.
There are 3 stages of the Kaizen event. The Kaizen preparation phase, which is done part-time. It may take anywhere between 1 week to 1 month. And basically, in the preparation phase, we define the goals and objectives of the Kaizen project. We also make a Kaizen team in this stage. We will talk about the Kaizen preparation phase in depth later, but for the introduction, let's look the another phase. After the preparation phase, we head for the Kaizen event or Kaizen implementation phase. The implementation phase generally takes about 3 to 8 days and uses the PDCA model of improvement. Then, after the implementation phase, we go for the post-project or Kaizen follow-up phase. We train the staffs and standardize the improvement that we gain in the Kaizen implementation phase. And after the post-project phase, we again head back to the Kaizen preparation phase for the next problem to improve. So, Kaizen is a continuous improvement philosophy. Now let us talk about the preparation phase, which is the first phase of the Kaizen event. The preparation phase is as important as Kaizen event main process because previously we learned that the main reasons for failure of the Kaizen project is the lack of proper preparation, and this is the phase where we define the scopes and objectives of a Kaizen project. So if we fail at this stage, we fail the entire project. Now let me remind you that though the Kaizen event takes only 3 to 10 days, and in this lecture we are assuming a 5-day Kaizen event, which is quite common, the real preparation phase may start a month prior to the Kaizen event itself. But it is done part-time and there is no separation of dedicated time and personnel for this phase. So what are the things you might want to consider doing in this phase? Well, as I already told you, you make the project scope and objectives. You should be clear what you are targeting to improve in the Kaizen project. So how do you do that? We make the SMART objectives, just like SMART goals. SMART objectives are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. We can use the 5W1H or 5W2H techniques in defining the problem. We will learn about these in the plan phase of the Kaizen in much detail later in this course. This is also a phase where we try to gather necessary data. And most important than that is we make a cross-functional team and identify senior management sponsor and a facilitator for the entire project. So who is the sponsor? Sponsor is one who is responsible for providing necessary raw materials and financial help for the projects, and a facilitator is the one who helps in communication and facilitates the entire project. We can also call the facilitator the team leader. This is also a phase where we identify any constraints. We will study about the theory of constraints later in the plan phase in much detail. The next phase is the Blitz event or the main Kaizen event or the main project. This is the main Kaizen event process that is generally 3 to 10 days long, and here I have taken it as a 5-day average, as 5-day Kaizen event is quite common. So let's head into the chart. I will also be providing you the chart in the resource section, so please do not forget to download the chart. This could be helpful in planning your own Kaizen event. One important thing is we carry out the Blitz or Kaizen event following a PDCA or plan, do, check, and act cycle. In the first day or in the plan phase, we define our goals and communicate with our team about our main goals. This is also a day or phase where we map and measure the process current state, and we try to identify any waste, problem, or defect with the current process. This is also the time when we analyze the collected data that we did in the preparation phase. This is also a day for training all members about Kaizen events and things that must be done in the Kaizen event. Let's go to the day 2. We can also say that this is the plan phase of our PDCA cycle. As day 1, we perform various kinds of tasks in this a day. We study the root causes of the problem and try to find out the most important root cause. We can do that using root cause analysis tools such as Fishbone, 5 Whys, or Pareto analysis. We will learn all this in the relevant section later, but this is just for your understanding. This is also a day for brainstorming and identification of the solutions, and we make an agreement or a common understanding with the entire team by communicating the brainstorm solution. This is also a day or the phase where we should document resources to make the improvements. Day 3, let's assume it the do phase, and this is the day for making improvements. This can be extended for 2 to 3 days more if the implementation part is time consuming, but please be careful that since Kaizen event is a quick fix and improvement process, you should not lengthen the process. You can make more improvements in the next Kaizen event, as Kaizen is an ongoing improvement process. Day 4 starts with testing improvements that we made and measuring the positive outcomes of the improvement if that is possible, and making any necessary adjustment. This is also called the check phase of the Kaizen event, and the day where we should standardize the document. I advise you to make at least a standard operating procedure or a new specification document on the same day if any change is to be made. So basically, we make the SOPs and new specification documents on day 4. Day 5 is the final day or the 5th day of the Kaizen event. In this day again, we have to do many things. We train the employees with new procedures and inform them about the new standards so that the old process is not repeated. We communicate the change to the entire organization. We can use the A3 paper or A3 report for this. I'll also teach you in detail about this document later. And this is also a day where we reward the team. We convey thanks. If you are a facilitator, you convey thanks to the entire team for making the improvement process happen. If you are a team member, you convey thanks to the facilitator for facilitating the process efficiently. Kaizen event is a teamwork, and you have achieved an important goal. So it's time to celebrate the victory together. Next, we reach the post-project phase or the Kaizen follow-up phase. The things that we do in the Kaizen follow-up phases are we continue with the implementation of items, or we continue doing those items which are not completed during that 5-day period. We communicate process changes to the stakeholders. We coach the managers or staff or all key stakeholders who are responsible for the improvement, and we hand over the business to the stakeholders as usual. And we measure the impacts and benefits of the Kaizen projects. We sign up all the documents and we hand over the project. The follow-up phase basically takes 2 weeks to 1 month. The majority of this time is for training the staffs and measuring the impacts and benefits, and also standardizing the results. So in all, these are the steps and the process for the implementation of the Kaizen. This may sound a little confusing because I might have spoken a lot of new terms and improvement methodologies. You don't have to worry for memorizing this step now, as we will study the tools and all the process in much detail later in this course. Also, please do not forget to download the resources. I have provided you a 5-day Kaizen event chart with all the process so that you don't have to memorize anything, and you can use that chart in your own improvement project. So I hope this will be helpful to you too. This is just the start of our Kaizen bootcamp, so there is nothing to worry. Thank you so much for listening to me so far.